Virginia's high school football teams has all come down to this. The Friday Night Blitz State Finals Preview.
Time to get it on.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jermaine Farrell, hoping your day is wonderful and blessed. Friday Night Blitz is on the air. It is our State Finals Preview special. And over the next half hour, we preview the two local teams in the mix for tomorrow's State Finals, as we'll take a look back at this past season as well with David Guzman and Ryan Moy. But let's get the party started with our Game of the Week.
Now, the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week, sponsored by Don Hudson Insurance.
Our Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week comes from the Class 3 State Finals in Lynchburg as the Heritage Pioneers take on the Phoebus Phantoms. Now, kickoff is set for tomorrow at noon from Williams Stadium. So first, let's check out the Heritage Pioneers in their 2022 season and their playoff history. Now, Heritage, they have a record of 12-2 this season. Their two losses came at Dinwiddie and in Week 2 there, and also at LCA in Week 8. Now, the Pioneers' defense was strong as they shut out 5 opponents this year. Heritage averaging 31 points a game, and Heritage shared the Seminole District crown with EC Glass and LCA. So here's the Pioneers' playoff history. Saturday will be Heritage's 6th state title game. The Pioneers winning the state title in 2002 over Lafayette and in 2018 over Phoebus. This will be the team's second ever playoff meeting. Heritage has an overall playoff record of 39-25.
Hey, I love you. I love you. It's great. We're there, but trust me. You put that thing down from last time as state champion. You put that ring on your finger. All right, we get that ring ceremony and all that kind of stuff. You're 48 minutes away. I'll be honest with you, man. In January, we had some issues that we had to eliminate some guys. We had some guys with this and that. So I felt like we found our identity by the time in January, into February came around. Addition through subtraction. And now we got the guys we want, guys that are bought in, guys that believe in our system, guys that are just tough. We had a great offseason. And, man, these kids are just fought, man. They just fought. Give them credit. It's just, I'm proud of them. They've gone through COVID. They've gone through everything. And, man, to be playing on the last Saturday in December, or the last Saturday of football season, 10th of December, man, I'm excited about it.
So, Book, now that you're at this moment, I mean, what does it feel like that you're 48 minutes away from a state title?
Man, it feels amazing. I'm getting butterflies just thinking about it. You know, it's definitely gonna be a hard week to prepare, but we're gonna take advantage of it.
Or when did you guys felt like you guys could make it this far?
Definitely at the beginning. You know, we had Jay Sear come over here from last year. We had a bunch of guys come and go, and we just looked at it as an opportunity. You know, 8th grade year, a bunch of us came together and was like, hey, we're going to the state championship when we get our senior year, and here we are, taking advantage of it.
I mean, you guys now, all your playoff games have been in Lynchburg, and of course the big ones in Lynchburg. You know, being back in the finals, this program has established that momentum. Just what's it like for you personally to be a part of this tradition?
Really, it means a lot to be a part of this. This is my first time being this far in the playoffs, and it feels really good to be this far. But I feel like we can't stop here. We have more things to do.
Talk about the impact Coach Bradley's had on you as well as his team.
He has a very great impact on me. When I came here in my junior season, he taught me things throughout the whole season. And, he gave me the shot to do my thing this year.
We do have experience being at Williams Stadium, but at the end of the day, it ain't going to matter, man. We're going to get a great opponent, and we're going to have to figure out a way to find a way to win 48 minutes.
Now for Heritage opponent in the Phoebus Phantoms, they're the Class 3 defending state champs. Now Phoebus went 14-0 this season, getting half their wins. That's 7 by shutout. Phoebus is averaging 42 points per game while giving up only 4 points per game. Phoebus has been on a big run as of late. They're on a 19-game winning streak. 26 of their last 27 games have been wins. Now for the Phoebus Phantoms, Saturday will be their 9th state title game. They're 7-1 in title games, including last year winning over Liberty Christian in a 2021 Class 3 final, 22-14. This will be the second ever meeting against the Pioneers for Phoebus as they lost to the Pioneers in the Class 3 final in 2018. Phoebus, they have a 70-20 overall playoff record. Now, when it comes to local teams, Phoebus, they have a 1-3 record in the playoffs against our local teams. In 2015, in the Class 3 state semifinals, Magna Vista won that game. The following year, in the Class 3 state semifinals, Blacksburg won. And in 2018, in the Class 3 finals, Heritage got the win there. And in last year's Class 3 final, Phoebus defeated LCA. Coming up on Friday Night Blitz with our state finals preview, we take a look at the George Wythe Maroons as they battle for the Class 1 title tomorrow. Stick and stay, please.
This is the Home Team Fan Cam, sponsored by Hometown Automotive Service. the Friday Night Blitz State Finals preview.
Time to get it on.
And welcome back, everybody, to Friday Night Blitz and our state finals preview special. We go to the Class 1 state finals where the George Wythe Maroons, they won their first state title in 2002. Then the Maroons won it again in 2012. Tomorrow at noon at Salem Stadium, they have a chance to stay on schedule of lifting a state trophy every decade when George Wythe takes on Riverheads. First, let's check out the George Wythe Maroons in their 2022 season and their playoff history. Now, George Wythe, they have a record of 10-3. Their losses came at home to Radford in week 1, Graham in week 6, and Grundy in week 8. The Maroons are averaging 32 points per game, and the Maroons are on a 6-game winning streak. And tomorrow's game at Salem Stadium will be George Wythe's second game ever at the Salem facility, winning it back in 2012. Now, George Wythe, they are the Mountain Empire district champions. And here's the Maroons' playoff history. Saturday will be George Wythe's fourth state title game. The Maroons, as we mentioned earlier, they won it back in 2002, beating Buckingham County. In 2012, they won on a Honaker. This will be the team's second ever playoff meeting between them. Riverheads beat George Wythe in the 2015 Class 1 semifinals 31-20. And the Maroons, they have an overall playoff record of 36-22. WFXR Sports' David de Guzman looks at how the Maroons punched their ticket to Salem.
Don't do that on me.
George Wythe's state semifinal victory over Grundy was an emotional one for head coach Brandon Harner.
Exhaustion from this week, preparation, happiness, adrenaline, and just everything that my kids and my wife have to do to allow me to do this. And the time away from them, it's a lot.
The Maroons avenged their regular season loss to the Golden Wave and booked their first trip to the state championship game in 10 years.
It's just countless hours. We've all improved as a team. We've all came together. I think we finally clicked, and I just got to thank God. That's all it is. To get this opportunity is something once of a lifetime, and that's all we can do is thank God.
George Wythe is no stranger to overcoming adversity. When star quarterback Luke Jolly went down with an injury at the beginning of the season, Harner put in Tandem Smith and stuck with him at QB even when Luke returned to the field.
That was probably one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make, and that hurts me. I mean, because Luke Jolly he's an all-star. He gets hurt, but we're rolling on offense. Tandem does some good things. And he said, Coach, I'll do whatever it takes to win. So he goes to wide out, he goes to tight end, he goes to slot. Tandem's done a great job, don't get me wrong. But what Luke did after that says everything about our team.
Now the Maroons will need to take down the 6-time defending champions Riverheads in order to bring a state title back to Wytheville.
Our kids are going to have to play better than they did today. And that's saying a lot, but they're going to have to.
But the players aren't intimidated about facing one of the most successful powerhouse programs in the state.
At the start of the summer, it's all about focus. It's all about those first couple weeks. And then you realize that you're good and you start winning. And then you're like, we can make it the distance. And then when you know you can make it that distance, that's the only thing you need. I think we can get it done. I'm excited to see what me and my boys can do, and I'm super excited.
And the Maroons will be relying on their faithful fans to help get the job done in Salem.
The crowd is always the biggest part. I mean, if they're giving us energy, then it gives us energy. And then when everybody's excited, that makes us excited. We definitely want the big crowd at the state game. I'd remember it for the rest of my life. It's one of those moments that you'll never forget.
In Wytheville for Friday Night Blitz, David de Guzman, WFXR Sports.
Thank you so much, David. Now for George Wythe's opponent, the 6-time defending Class 1 champs in the Riverhead Gladiators. This year they went 11-1. The Gladiators' only loss was at home to Lord Balatot in week 3. Riverheads are averaging 39 points per game, and this is the Gladiators' 8th game at Salem Stadium with a 7-0 record, all in state title games. The Gladiators have been on a big run as they are on a 9-game winning streak, but they won 61 of their last 62 games. One side note, Riverhead's head coach Ray Norcross went to George Wythe High School during his freshman year back in the 70s. Now for the Riverhead Gladiators, Saturday will be their 11th state title game. They are 9-1 in title games, including last year winning over Galax in the final there, 45-14. Riverheads, they've won the last 6 Class 1 titles, and this will be the second meeting against the Gladiators and as well as George Wythe. They won the Class 1 semifinal game back in 2015 as they have a 52-18 playoff record. Now, when it comes to local teams, Riverheads, they have a 14-9 record in the playoffs against our local teams. Of the 9 state titles, 4 came to expense of local teams, as Riverheads beat Gillax in 2019, the spring 2021, and the fall of 2021 season, and they beat Eastern Montgomery back in 2010. Coming up next on Friday Night Blitz in our state finals preview, we have David Guzman and Ryan Moy. They join me as we take a look back at some of the big moments from the 2022 season. More Friday Night Blitz coming up on the other side.
And now, back to the Blitz, the Friday Night Blitz State Finals preview.
Time to get it on.
All right, folks, welcome back to Friday Night Blitz, our state finals preview special. And of course, the dynamic duo joining me, David Guzman, Ryan Moy, as we talk about the season has passed. We're down to the finals,
made it.
of course.
Yeah, it's been a long road.
It has been hard in those streets.
I tell you.
I'm telling you.
Hey, you guys have been out in the streets doing a great job.
You know, trying to make it work as best as we can, right?
Good stuff. Well, yeah, obviously we're going to look back at the seasons and start off with you, Ryan. What's something that stood out to you this year, or some things?
Well, specifically, for me, it would have to be the resurgence of Heritage High being able to make it all the way to the state finals. I think a lot of people were kind of writing them off earlier on in the season, and then here they are right now about to play for a state championship. I think it's pretty phenomenal to see what Coach Brad Bradley has been able to do. I mean, of course, won a state title just a few years back, and now here they are. Definitely a lot of fun to see that. The LCA one was pretty impressive, just to say the least. You know, knocked off a powerhouse like that was looking for another appearance in the state final game to kind of get a little bit of revenge against one of the teams that, you know, they didn't get the state finals, the state championship last year. So I don't know. It's been pretty interesting to see Heritage do what they've been able to do.
And David, obviously you've been out in the streets, as Ryan would say. What about you? What's something that stood out to you or some things?
Well, you know what Ryan talked about, all those teams in the Seminole District. When you look at Southwest Virginia as a whole, there's a lot of parity in football. You know, we go into every season, we're talking about the Lord Botetourts, the Salems, the LCAs, and don't get me wrong, those are 3 teams that remain strong this year, and they're going to remain strong in the years to come. But then we saw a lot of teams that just came out of nowhere in some ways, and also teams that have been on the rise. And one team that really stood out to me was Christiansburg. When you have a team like that who was just fired up, motivated after losing to Lord Botetourt in the previous year, and they've had to deal with their share of injuries, and for them to do what they did this year, to get revenge against Lord Botetourt, against the Cavaliers on the road in the region final. And you know, it was just one of those things you just had to just smile when you recognize what was going on there, because you have a guy like Tanner Evans who started the year as a running back and then shifted into the quarterback role. And it was only going to be a temporary thing. Turns out it wasn't. And he became one of the players that really stood out this season.
Absolutely.
You did a Player of the Week segment on him. The character that he has for Christiansburg. And even though they lost by a whopping margin to Heritage, this is a team that is probably going to stay at the top and compete for region titles and in the future state championships.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's been kind of the funny part. I think I dubbed him the Swiss Army knife, because at one point it was like, what else are you going to give him? I mean, what can he not do? He just seems to be everywhere. I mean, Tanner Evans really is, I think, that guy that puts the team on his back and he makes other guys better. I mean, Coach Wilkins, I think, couldn't have a better person back there to make some things happen. So it's pretty wild.
And of course, the Hay in the Barn segment. Of course, earlier in the show, we talked about North Cross winning their state championship. Back in 2019, they won it, and they got it done again, beat a team they beat last year. And obviously, North Cross was so impressive all year long. I mean, Ian, Yes I Can. And Connor Lang and all those guys over there, the Rhodes family.
Oh, yeah, there's a little tank. There's a little tank on that. You're not even a little tank. That was a big tank. Let's put it like that. No, it's been pretty impressive to see what they were able to do. I'm really happy for Ian Can, because I know he had that injury, and that kind of carried all the way over. He got another opportunity, comes away with a chip. That's pretty phenomenal, to say the least.
I think overall it's just nice to see a lot of teams do better than last year. I mean, you saw a team like Williamsburg, who didn't have a win this entire season, finally get the W several times this year, and so they're a program on the rise under the direction of Brad Lutz. You saw teams like Patrick Henry really have one of those breakout seasons. They've always been really good, but I think what stood out to me was the playmaking that they were able to do. I think they're going to be a team that's always going to be fun to watch, and they've really caught my eye several times this season. So you had teams that really stepped it up this year compared to last year, and that means you enter next year with even higher expectations.
And then look what William Fleming did. They got off to that slow start. They played a brutal, tough schedule, and they finished strong and won their way into the playoffs. So, a lot of great stuff, a lot of good stuff. So it's fun, and of course it's always fun, covering the games with you guys. And I just want to give a quick shout out to these two gentlemen. They knocked it out of the park this year like you do every year with our preseason stuff, throughout the season, playoffs. So now we shift our attention to the round ball and other stuff.
I know, right? Also, I wanted to say, shout out to EC Glass for being able to do what they were able to do. I think they went under the radar, but Midtown boys went under the radar, and Coach Woody, hey, my hat's off to those guys over in Lynchburg.
Yeah, with David and Ryan, again, appreciate all you guys do all year long, not just during football season, but at this point. So good job as usual as we are getting rocking and rolling here. As David and Ryan, great job again. And we got football season, but we're not done talking about football, as we will talk about guess who?
It's time for the Friday Night Blitz Player of the Week, sponsored by Tater Benson of MKB Realtors.
Well, this week's athlete played like a man on a mission. Not only did he throw for over 330 yards and also picked up a score on the ground, he also threw 3 touchdowns through the air in his team's 43-0 win over Christiansburg in the Class 3 state semifinals last Saturday. And check this out. He's your player of the week.
J.C. Bateman, quarterback, Heritage High School. Well, coming to the week of Christiansburg, we knew that they were a good team. That first drive, 3 and out, we got that punt back. That was the game changer, really, because after that, we never stopped. I got to give a big shout out to my guys up front for giving me the time to deliver the ball to my receivers. And I appreciate them for catching the rock. Coach Bradley has some good calls coming into the game, and we actually put in a play for their defense. And after that fumble on the punt, called it the next play and touchdown. So I feel like everybody came together this week, played together as a team. Shout out to the defense for doing what they do on defense, holding them to 0 points. And before the season even started, us seniors were saying, like, we think we have a chance to be in where we are right now, playing in the state championship. And I feel like we pushed our guys so far to be here, in which we are. The rest of the seniors have been here for longer than me, 4 years in total, and I've only been here for 2. So it means probably more to them than it does to me, really. But it also means a lot to me to be able to play for my coach and play for my community. I feel like last year, after that second round loss against Brookville, we knew that we had to come together more as a team to be able to come this far. And I feel like the coaches, they've been coaching very well to bring us to this point. And I feel like there was a lot of people doubting us throughout this season, thinking we weren't going to be as good, and we're going to be nothing. And I feel like we're proving them wrong. This is what I've been waiting for my whole life, to be able to play in this state championship this weekend. I feel like I've been training myself to be able to lead the team and do things like that so that we can be here. When I put this orange and blue on, it means a lot to me because, one, Coach Bradley, it means a lot for him being my head coach and everything he does for me, and a lot to support my teammates. It would mean a lot to leave a legacy here because a lot of people didn't know me first time coming in here, so it would mean a lot to leave something here like that.
And now, the Macadit Play of the Night, sponsored by McAdoo's.
Our Macadit Play of the Night came from last week's Class 3 state semifinal between Heritage and Christiansburg. Jasir Bateman, Marcus White catches him in stride, 84 yards. Heritage didn't look back as they got the big win. Bateman to White, earning our Macadit Play of the Night.
And now, Friday Night Blitz, Unsung Hero, sponsored by the Army National Guard. Always ready, always there.
Well, of course, we couldn't have Friday Night Blitz without the entire staff here at WFXR. I want to thank the production staff, the engineers, and everyone involved, everyone here at the station, producers, shooters, everybody. I want to thank you for your wonderful efforts. Also, David de Guzman, Ryan Moy, great job as always. So guess what, folks? That does put our Friday Night Blitz State Finals show in the books. If you missed any of it, catch it on WFXRTV.com. I'm Jermaine Farrell. Hope all of your teams are winners. Have a wonderful and blessed night and weekend, everybody.